Good afternoon, good evening, or wherever you're at. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to Week 5 of the Link to the Past Randomizer League. This week, we've got a mystery for everybody. It's a secret for everyone. I am your co-commentator, Jossum Sauce, here today with another co-commentator, Rive. Rive, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm very excited to see what craziness awaits us today. We've had a couple of doozies yesterday already, very quick matches. So I'm wondering, is it going to be another setup where they go through it pretty quickly, or are we going to have to go in for a long haul, a marathon run? One thing that I can already say, they're starting with boots, which we can see on the screen now in their inventories. So that's gonna get them started off, but everything else we'll have to get inside before we know.
That's right. They should be starting any second now. We've got Coxla from the Bonking Baguettes. They're 5-3, tied for third. They're just one game behind, so this is a huge game for him and his team. And going against them is Zeke Highwind from the All Hyrulian Rejects. They're looking to pick up their second win. So let's see what happens. Looks like we got a standard start.
Standard start, but okay, that's not gonna take too long thanks to those boots at least.
And there's that boots hint that the boots are on his feet. Oh, it's a Triforce hunt. 49 Triforces.
Yeah, we need 49. So the max that you might need is 50. So this is a really high count for Triforce Hunt to be at, which means that there are either 59 or 60 Triforce pieces in the world, because there's going to be at least 10 more than what we need, and the absolute max is 60. So they're going to have to scour the whole world to find all the pieces they need. So it's not going to be that fast.
Oh, we get a sword on Uncle as well. That's the standard start there. Casual boots is what it is.
And we have Key to Hyrule Castle, so that means since there was the pop-up, small keys have been shuffled. So that's going to slow them down a bit as they need to collect the required keys before they can really get into any of the dungeons decently. Of course, we'll have to wait and see if big keys, maps, and compasses are shuffled, because those can each be decided individually if they're shuffled or not.
Yeah, and one thing that's nice, at least for the viewers here, is it can't be entrance randomizer when we have a Triforce hunt. So this is just a normal world for what we think. It could still be a little different though with item pools and some of the other weights as well. So the name of the game with Triforce Hunt is you have to collect many of these little Doritos. We like to call them Doritos because they look like Cool Ranch Doritos. And once you get all 49, you have to go talk to a new sprite who's standing in front of Hyrule Castle, and that's how you complete the game.
One other interesting thing is, because they need so many crystals, the question is going to be how many are in Ganon's tower, because if there's a low amount of crystals needed, there's a good chance you might not need to step in there, but there being so many chests in Ganon's tower, we may actually need to go over there, or it may even be the better play, because the amount of crystals needed to get into Ganon's tower can be lower than 7, down to a minimum of 3. Of course, killing bosses does take quite a bit of time, and you kind of want to avoid that as well in Triforce Hunt. But if you... Oh, I just saw the big key had a pop-up, which means big keys are also shuffled. So as I was saying, you don't really want to spend time killing those bosses, but if you want to need to make your way into Ganon's tower, you're going to want to do that anyway, after all.
Yeah, and even though it seems like this might be an easy mystery because we've got Triforce Hunt, that 49, that might take us through a substantial part of the game. So those randomized big keys, randomized small keys, those are going to be a big part of this game.
And to answer chat's possible full key sanity, it is possible. Small keys, big keys, maps and compasses are decided individually if they are spread out or not. 60% yes for every one of them, 40% no then of course. So far we have the big keys and the small keys randomized. We'll have to wait and see if maps and compasses join them or if they are just inside their own dungeon.
Yeah, one of the features of the League mystery mode is it takes a lot of different aspects of the mode and mixes them up separately. So instead of just saying, hey, key sanity, yes or no, it takes each individual part of key sanity, maps, compasses, small keys, like you said. It also randomizes the goals separately, the item access, the item pool, the world state, and then the crystals to get into GT and defeat Ganon if that's an option. So instead of it just being total modes being shuffled, it crafts a mold based on multiple different weights.
Well, we have a compass to ice balance, so the compasses are also shuffled. We might actually get the full key sanity. Now, of course, with full key sanity, you need to find those keys outside of the dungeons, but that also means that inside each dungeon, there's a lot more room for all other things, for a lot of other items and Triforce pieces, because there's no guaranteed maps and compasses inside those dungeons, so that leaves a lot more room in those chests that are there. Although we don't know if maps are shuffled just yet. Of course, that's very nice to have that boot start, because they don't have any bombs yet, so but thanks to those boots, they can make their way to the back of Escape here. Small key to Thieves Town and a big key to the Palace of Darkness. A small key to Thieves Town, of course, only needed if you need to get into that big chest.
So since we haven't seen a map yet, if the map is here in Sanctuary, then that will show us that maps aren't randomized, but we'll have to see what they get right here.
This is exciting. So it's full key sanity with that lamp in the Sanctuary chest.
And for the weights of this, so each of these items are rolled separately, has a 40% chance of it being yes for each of these, for those to be on. So it was 4 individual 40% rolls to hit key sanity.
It's actually, is it 40% yes? I thought it was opposite. That's odd. I must be misremembering this.
Yep, 40% yes, 60% no.
And a small key to Turtle Rock in the Bonk Rocks. Getting some tree love there with that pull.
And thanks to some of our admins, there is a nice handy feature in our Twitch streams now where you can check out the weights yourself. If you'd like to follow along with all the different races and see what could possibly be in the mystery seeds that you're seeing this week.
Flippers in Thieves' Hideouts. I missed it. What was on the Lumberjack ledge? Asking the same question as Great Corvid in chat, I also missed it. And while Zeke makes his way into Kakariko, Coxla decides to save and quit. Two Triforce pieces in the well. Can't check the back well because he does not have any bombs.
We're waiting to see some new checks. Shout out to our tracker Hyrulian and our restreamer Floyd. Appreciate you guys helping us out today.
And Zeke going to pick up that quick guaranteed bomb from the Bonk Rocks. And resetting it again in another one so he can get more done in Kakariko while he's there. I'm not really sure why Coxla made the route that he did, but he's gonna go through the race game here because there is that Triforce piece available for him.
Yeah, even with the boots, you know, it's a quick check just to look at it, but usually in key sanity modes or anything where there's a lot of items like this, you might just want to go right for the race game blind just to see what's there.
One key to Castle Tower. I hope they won't need that. Yeah, another two Triforce pieces in Blind's hideouts. Hyrule's really, Kakariko's really paying off for those pieces. And some spin speed from Coxla, running quickly into Kakariko. Oh, and Zeke moves slightly too early into the bomb explosion, and he dies.
And yes, to answer the chat, this is Triforce Key Sanity with a boot start.
Full key sanity.
With casual boots, Triforce keys.
You know, your everyday match. So Zeke making his way back to Kakariko, but he's gonna have to pick up another bomb there from the Bonk Rocks, losing a little bit of time so he can check out the back of well. The back of the bar also had another Triforce piece, and there's the flute inside the chicken hut. Always nice to get that flute while you're already in Kakariko.
Coxla going to take advantage of the little bomb hut to get some supplies.
Yeah, negating bombs, definitely worth it. But he wants more, kind of bombs. Oh, are these rewards under these spots guaranteed? That's new.
Yeah, that's a great spot to get a refill on a couple of bombs. Makes it worth it. You got to have a bomb to get some more bombs, but it's kind of like the take a penny, leave a penny.
So that's a total of 3 Triforce pieces in well, 2 in Blind's hideout, 1 in the racing game, which I'm gonna count as a part of Kakariko, and 1 in the back of the bar. So that's a total of 7 pieces in Kakariko. That gets them off to a really good start. On the other hand, that's not a lot of items that they have yet.
Yeah, we still don't know, you know, how many crystals it takes to get into Ganon's Tower, which could have a whole lot of Triforce pieces and items as well. You know, it could be anywhere from 0 to 7 crystals. Maybe they get in right away. Well, of course, we'll have to find the Moon Pearl and some Dark World access first.
Well, the minimum amount of crystals required is, I think it's for the entrance. Is it down to 0? Ganon's Tower is a minimum of 3 crystals, I think.
That's right. For Triforce, that's right. It's so 15% chance of 3, and it goes up incrementally from there. And then for Ganon, which we don't have to worry about, there's some other things there. The Triforce Hunt, we don't care about Ganon today.
Imagine defeating Ganon in Triforce Hunt. That'd be the ultimate shade throw.
Would it count as 3 Triforces though when you pick that up?
I don't think the bridge actually opens if you defeat him, because you enter that room with the Triforces by talking to Muradala, or what's his name, in front of the castle. Once you have enough pieces.
We get a glove inside Spectacle Rock Cave. That'll be excellent. We're almost to Dark World access.
And both players lost a little bit of time with how they routed Kakariko because of the lack of bombs mostly. and the unfortunate death from Zeke. But having done almost all the same checks, Zeke has a bit of a lead here. Having gotten that glove up on the mountain, but Coxla has one piece that Zeke doesn't have, which Zeke will go pick up right now from the racing game. And there's the Skull Woods small key from the ball vendor that Zeke also did not get, because he did not have the rupees for it.
That small key to Skullwoods might play a really big role because they can access a couple checks there without having to worry about saving and quitting. Because that front of Skullwoods is locked by a couple doors there, so just having one key tends to let you get everything there.
And a Triforce under the water. And also one on Desert Ledge. Since he doesn't have any bomb, he does have to skip on the Aghanas Cave. While Coxla is making his way to Mini Moldorm. And Zeke is making up for his deficit in rupees. And that guy has just learned the duck to read.
Yeah, that'll help him get that Triforce piece off the Desert Ledge that we just saw.
Zeke picking up that key to Skull Woods, and we did see the big key to Turtle Rock in Mini Moldorm Cave. We've gotten a small key to Turtle Rock, a big key to Turtle Rock. Are we gonna have how much pieces are we gonna find in Turtle Rock? I'm wondering now. And there's a mirror in Ice Rod Cave. While Coxla sets up water walking there.
Yeah, it's great they have all the mobility items and the ability to go back and forth once they get into the Dark World. We're still looking for the Moon Pearl and Hammer, since we believe the mitts are on the Lumberjack Cave. So that would mean we're going to need Aga at some point, probably, to be able to get this many Triforce pieces.
So there was a Triforce piece as well on top of Lake Hylia Island.
And Zeriva in the chat making a good point that weapons, the swords, are a separate weight, and there is a 20% chance that we could have vanilla swords since the uncle had a sword. We'll have to see blacksmith and the other locations, even the pedestal having a sword as well. But there's a high chance we won't ever see what's on the pedestal, so we'll have to see what happens. But with the book and the mirror, you never know.
Yeah, all those items being here available so easily does make you think they might get sent that way. And Chris is now, of course, putting those slippers to good use to go check out Zora's domain. Pick up the bombos in the Waterfall Fairy Cave. Making his way to check Ledge, and there's a piece of heart there, but he's gonna save and quit now because he is very far away from having enough money to pay Zora.
One thing that sort of argues against the vanilla swords is it's going to be really hard to get to those the pedestal swords and the 2 Dark World swords if you need to kill Aghanim. So maybe the cape is in our future in order to get into Aghanim for those mitts. Because you need the mitts to get to blacksmith, and you need 3 pendants which we don't know yet. We haven't seen a map check, I don't think, and we don't. Not sure where the dungeon prizes are.
There may have been a map check, but I didn't see it anyway. These racers do that so fast that I can't keep up.
Yeah, that's right. Since we know maps are also randomized, we wouldn't know anything yet because the maps in Key Sanity are what give us our prizes.
Was there another small key to Turtle Rock? Coxla ignoring that full heart container. He's like, nah, I'm good. I don't need this. Which is understandable. This is a mode where you want to avoid fighting bosses as much as possible. So you don't really need much of on the side of safeties.
Agina with a Triforce piece as well, so
which puts Coxla one ahead on that front because Zeke did go there, but didn't have a bomb, so he had to run right past it, go into dam.
So keep in mind that, you know, you said earlier in the race here that there can only be a max of 60 total pieces. Like, we don't know the total. It has to be at least 59 because it has to be 10 plus your required amount. So there's only 11 that you can pass up. So there's going to need to be a really substantial coverage of checks in this seed. This might be a kind of almost 100% check seed.
And some love from the old man on the mountain, while as both players rescue him from the darkness.
And normally in Triforce Hunt, you want to be as dense as possible and try to make as many checks as fast as possible. But at this one, you might take a longer time to do checks like Thieves Town, Big Chest, or the basement of Hera if you can. As we see a small key, speaking of access to Big Chest in the dungeons, there's that small key on Spectacle Rock.
Now that they have the mirror, they can actually get to it. And I think that's exactly where Zeke is heading. He's probably going to go into Hera as well now that now he has that mirror, because there's a bunch of chests fairly easily available. Actually, there's not that many now that I think of it. Just the basement and the one in the back. And the lobby one, of course. To Ganon's Tower.
There's a Triforce piece on either tablet.
So if weapons, if swords are vanilla, they are still progressive, right? So you can skip one, and you can skip the pedestal and get an upgrade from smiths.
Yeah, they're still progressive normally. As we see Coxla taking a death from a dead rock right outside of Tower of Hera.
Yeah, those dead rocks from me. Big key to Ice Palace, and he does not want to check out. He might not have a small key to check out the back.
Nope, and no hook shot to do a hair pot to get down to the basement. So, just gonna have to deal with that for now. And I answer a question in chat. So in the mystery weights, if you get a Triforce Hunt, that's sort of a whole separate series of subweights that are rolled. And there is no beatable option. It's just going to be 90% chance for just inventory 100% accessible, or 10% of everything being fully accessible. So likely this is that just inventory 100%.
Coxla following into Zeke's steps into the Tower Hera as Zeke himself goes into Eastern Palace. For yet another key to small key to Ice Palace. With Coxla following up there, they have a similar train of thoughts. Finding a small key to Castle Tower, so that's both small keys to Castle Tower. And they have a very similar train of thought, and they're doing the very same checks. I don't think we saw Saha's Closet from Zeke, though.
No, Zeke went straight up from the flute path right up to Eastern Palace, so I'm sure he'll check that on the way out of here.
And Swamp Palace has the green pendant.
And there's the cape.
There's the cape. Yet another small key to Palace of Darkness. And there was also a Triforce piece in Saha's Closet and a small key, but I missed where it was to. Oh, it was Desert Palace. Yeah.
So this is going to open up a fair amount of checks, everything but the big chest, and also on the Desert Ledge, which there was a Triforce piece.
Well, I think Coxla has already been there.
That's right.
So this will just open 2 more chests for him on the right side of Desert Palace here. The bow is definitely a nice find. And another Triforce piece with a Death War from Zeke, as he did find the last piece that was available to him in the Eastern Palace. And like you said, on his way out, Zeke goes and checks Saha Closet.
Now, even though Coxla has the bow, he doesn't have the big key for Eastern Palace, so he's only going to be able to make the same checks that Zeke has already done.
A quick look that puts Coxla currently at 17 pieces and Zeke at 14. For me, it's a bit hard to keep track as to which ones Coxla has found and Zeke has not. There's of course the one in Agina's closet that Zeke is gonna go pick up right now. But other than that, I don't remember where the difference lies. Wait, there's the one in Desert Palace that Zeke doesn't have yet, and I don't think he has Desert Ledge yet either. Well, there's the difference. That makes 17. Although we do have one Triforce piece, I think, in Eastern Palace that Coxla will be picking up momentarily.
It is pretty interesting. We still haven't found a Moon Pearl or a hammer. So I wonder if that's on the pyramid after Aga. It could be an Aga Tower. A couple other checks as well.
They do have both keys for Castle Tower, so do you think we're gonna see Aghanim after these plays are done with Desert Palace and Eastern Palace respectively?
Yeah, I would definitely be headed there. The fact that you know the mitts are there on Ledge, you can go check Mire Shed from there because you've got the flute. You can do more of Dark Death Mountain. Oh, I'm sorry, we still need, the Moon Pearl, of course. Once we get the Moon Pearl, you can do all those things. But that's hoping that the Moon Pearl's on the Pyramid Ledge or in Aga Tower.
Or as chat so kindly points out, Moon Pearl could be held by Zora. Zeke opting to pick up that heart.
Yeah, it's right there. You might as well take it when you can. You never know how many more you're going to get.
I would find it very tempting, and I would definitely do it too myself. But Coxla decided to skip that heart when he was there.
Yeah, that's right in the chat. Pearl could also be on checkerboard, which is always really fun. Because you can use the mirror as in your bunny sprite. So that's actually a light world check. I just really enjoy that we're getting a full race here, full seed, lots of stuff happening, and we're just looking for Triforce pieces. We're not just trying to do the same old kill Ganon thing, so it's really exciting to watch this.
Especially since the seed will still take them all over the game.
Looks like Coxla is going to be the first to make the Aga climb here.
There he goes. And I think we can expect Zeke to follow up shortly. He's going to pick up that Triforce Beast, tying him up 17-17 from Desert Ledge.
So in Aga Tower, you do have 2 checks. Normally, those are just 2 chests full of keys. But since they do have the 2 keys to get up to Aga, they're going to get 2, hopefully, items. So we'll see. There's a bottle in the first check.
Neither player has checked Sick Kit yet. They do have a ball from Hobo. Zeke going back into...
Just going to grab some magic. Like, that's a good play to make sure you have...
yes, of course, that's a guaranteed magic drop. Remembering those guaranteed drops is something that's very important and really pays off, as we can clearly see here.
I don't know that we saw any tree pulls, though, because that also could have been an option.
There was one tree pull that gave a couple of hearts.
Okay,
but I don't know what tier that was.
Tier 3. Yeah.
Somebody in chat says that they think Kid was checked. Does anybody remember what Kid gave? Because I don't remember him being checked.
So for tree pulls, it's pretty straightforward. There's 3 tiers. In the vanilla game, they're just different tiers of rupees, green, blue, red. And it's all based on the number of enemies you kill before you pull a tree. So you have to kill 1 enemy to get the first tier. So you kill an enemy, pull a tree, that'll reset it. Tier 2 is you kill 4 enemies or more in perpetuity there, and then you get hit before you pull the tree. And tier 3 is hitting 4 more enemies without getting hit. So in Rando, you'll get 3 totally separate items randomized there among all the supplies.
Coxla quickly, for safety, filling up his health with that red potion he had. With all these enemies dealing 1 hearted damage, that's definitely safe, because it's a long climb to have to do again.
Yeah, it's good to know that those... Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, Josh, do you want to make any prediction as to how many blue balls we'll be seeing from Aghanim today?
Well, with 49 Triforce pieces, I'll say 3. As if they're somehow connected.
I'll actually make a connection. 7.
Someone says 8 in the chat. That's kind of bad.
Let's not go too far. That's already 3.
We'd like to move on with the race if we could. 8 blue balls.
Of course, the first 3 are always normal, then there's 1 blue, and then the 5th hit is always the lightning that he shoots. And after that, it is much more randomized. That was hit number 5, still only 1 blue, the guaranteed one. and flexing with the net dash instead of using the sword. That was only the one guaranteed blue ball and nothing else. That was very quick Aghanim. And there's a mirror shield on ledge. Well, Coxla deciding to not go for it. He just wants to go back to the light world. He knows I need that moon pearl, so let's go get it. After probably going to get the second myth from Lumberjack Ledge. Where's he going? Oh, he's setting up a Hyrulian. Now, Josh, can you explain to me how that works? Because I've tried bombing myself into that hole and I did not end up in a Hyrulian cave.
Yeah, you have to line up right on the edge there. It has to bonk you pretty much into that grave there to set it off. You might not have been close enough to the hole.
That could very well be a thing. Zeke, in the meantime, also just throwing shade on Aghanim with that bugnet, thinking, nah, I don't need this sword. I'm just gonna use my bugnet and show how much of a fool you are.
That's the swordless strats. It's a mandatory item if you want to be Aghanim 1 or 2 in a swordless. So that's good to practice. Coxla going right up to get those myths. Again, we're still looking for the moon pearl, but checkerboard cave is an option.
King's Doom as well. And now it's time for Zeke to be disappointed by that shield on the pyramid ledge. He wants to pick it up though. And I think for the first check we're gonna get is indeed the King's Tomb. Which is a Triforce piece, definitely something good, but doesn't really open up anything.
Yeah, when you're hunting for the moon pearl, I don't know whether to be excited or disappointed that it's a Triforce piece. A little of both.
So Zeke using those really advanced strats of fluting to the south side of the world to then get teleported to the north side of the world with the whirlpool. Although he's going into the cave, you can't get the glass from there, and he realizes that. Coxla using the mirror there to stay safe. Yeah, he's just getting away from that bird, because that bird he's on half a heart and will kill him easily in that bunny form, even with more than half a heart. And now Zeke makes his way to the King's Tomb. And there's the moon pearl in checkerboard cave. Let's go.
As meme as that spot is, it's actually a good spot to head off to some other checks. So it's not too bad. Right close here to Mire Shed.
Exactly, he's gonna go right there, it looks like. As Zeke flutes, and he is on his way to checkerboard as well. For this entire race, these two players have been doing fairly identical running routes.
That is one nice thing about Triforce Hunt. You know, normally you're just trying to get the items you need to beat the game as fast as you can, but you just really want to check everything in this game with 49 pieces.
I have to agree with chat saying that this is a very disappointing Mire shed. And oh, I didn't see it before, but it's Bombos to open Misery Mire, and they did get that earlier from the waterfall cave. So looks like he's gonna go right in.
Yeah, this seems like a good play. You can get into any of the checks except for the big chest because the keys are inside for you. You can steal a pot key at the top, and then you'll get some keys on the way to be able to make all the checks. Again, except the big chest because it doesn't have the big key.
But you have to be careful with what you open, though, right? Because you can't open all the doors, and he runs into the wizard.
Yeah, you have to take a certain path for sure.
Yeah, that's one of those things I still have to learn, what paths are available with how many keys. These players have run this so many times, and they keep practicing, they keep making sure that they remember correctly. This is, they make it look easy, but it really isn't. There's so much going on in their head while they're running. Constantly rethinking, where can I go, what can I do? Oh, I missed what was in the C-shaped house there. As Zeke makes his way into Thieves Town. And immediately rewarded with 1 piece. A compass. That's not very exciting for a sea house. Zeke having to take care that he doesn't accidentally run into anything down to have a heart. And there's the first Traverse piece from Misery Mire on the spikes. And Quake, now I'm wondering, is Quake needed to get into Turtle Rock? With how early they found those Turtle Rock keys, I really expect them to go in there. Or maybe even have to go in there. Great Corvid in chat talking about the clip to through that door that Coxla did. I've seen that happen a couple times. Josh, can you explain how that one works? Is that like similar to a door state extension in what people do in Ice Palace, or is that something different? Oh, we'll be right back. So yes, here we see the dreaded shortage of rupees on the Smith chain. You save him, they give you a reward, and then they say, no, you gotta pay us for this reward. But the purple chest does end up giving red gain, so that's as a big find, and then he's gonna be able to easily make up for his rupee shortage right here. No, Coxla, you don't have any more keys right now. That door is not for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about with you got to take the right path. So, but I'm sure he's going to go over to where the big chest is and take that route over.
So, Jaws, we've now seen Coxla do the a clip on the left side of the big hall in Misery Mire to come out from the door from the north and then clip over the rail. Can you tell us how does that work? Because I'm actually interested in it and I don't know.
I'll be honest, that's above my skill level too.
Yeah, it looks similar. The way clips look similar to what you do in the icebreaker room. But it's done differently because you charge, and I haven't seen that many players use that. It's also a trick that doesn't come up that often.
Ooh, and we have a sword off blacksmith, so we did get the vanilla swords. Very interesting.
I think that kind of confirms it.
Calling it a door state extension. Interesting. I'll have to look that one up later and maybe try to learn it. I know it doesn't come up very often in a normal rando mode because you're not usually coming from that direction.
But that's actually what happens in Icebreaker 2. It's also a door state extension, but it's done differently. And Coxla now heading into Dark Death Mountain with that hook shot that he found.
So that was definitely worth a dip in the mire.
Oh yeah. That opens
huge.
up so many checks.
So we're gonna get hookshot cave in here. Of course, just being able to get it to this side of the mountain in general was good.
Quickly emptying that shop.
I'll take one of everything. Paradox Cave. There's a lot of checks here. Oh, a hammer to start off with. Is that the first map of the game? I can't remember if we've seen a map yet.
Actually, you make a fair point. I cannot recall either. And of Misery Mire of all places. One bomb for 3 mini Moldorms dead.
All right, now we're getting somewhere. We got a big key to Eastern Palace, a big key to Skullwoods. Maybe that's important. A Triforce piece, a Fire Rod, and a Tower of Hera small key. So that was the hypest Paradox Cave, or the paradoxiest Paradox Cave.
Nice safety Blue Mill in Hype Cave, but still I would give the Hype Cave maybe a 3 or a 2 out of 10 though. Yeah, like you said, the Paradox Cave was a lot more hype than the actual Hype Cave.
Yeah, that hook shot, that means Meyer has locked most of the game. A lot of progression there, right? At least 2 dungeons worth of progression.
With that Master Sword, Zeke can now, of course, check the tablets, and he's gonna check Bombo's tablet right here. We know there's still but that's the Misery Mire Bicky and the Desert Palace Bicky. So Desert Palace Bicky on Bombo's tablets, while the Misery Mire Bicky was in Super Bunny Cave, and we still know there's a Triforce piece on the Ether tablets up north.
Yeah, that's right. So we can get to Ice Palace now. We can get Skullwoods. Some Thieves Town action. I think we have the. Do we still have the big key for Thieves Town? Nope, not yet. Obviously, we've seen what Desert Palace is going to be. There's the Ice Rod.
Oh yeah, let's go. Ice Rod time. They got it. I just kind of wanted them to kill Trinix for no particular reason. But also 2 more pieces to that Triforce inside of Hookshot Cave, while Zeke is making his way into Swamp Palace. And with that hook shot that Coxla found in Misery Mire, Zeke's gonna be limited in what he can do here in Swamp Palace. I see he's just getting that first chest and going out. It is a Triforce speed, so that was definitely worth a little bit of time to get in there.
Yeah, and he'll have to come back with a small key later. It's a really probably the most important small key in Key Sanity because it locks out the whole dungeon. Normally in the normal rando mode, you're gonna get that small key in that box every time. And Coxla avoiding some Lionel action there, using the mirror strategically.
So he did find the Hera small key, so he looks like he's gonna go into the back of dungeon now.
As Zeke is gonna steal that Triforce piece from that pickle. That pickle was so happy he had a Triforce piece, but Zeke came and stole it.
Oh no, he's Hera potting. He's not going into the back. He's Hera potting to go check the rest of Tyro Hera. Having some trouble there with the hook speed. As Zeke heads into Ice Palace. Hookshot is of course a very nice item to have in Ice Palace. So the longer Zeke puts off checking Misery Mire, the slower he's gonna be doing these checks. But of course, since we don't know where all those Triforce pieces are, that doesn't necessarily mean he'll be slower overall.
And he also has the cane, it looks like, so he'll be able to do Icebreaker before Coxla.
And the cane came from the purple chest.
Wow, so Master Sword and a Cane of Samaria. It's not often that the blacksmith chain pays off like that.
And here, what Zeke is doing, we often call this Icebreaker because this is Icebreaker room, but this is also a door state extension. But executed differently from the one we see in Misery Mire. I know how to do this one with the cane, but I don't know how to do the one in Misery Mire. Seeing a quick Moldorm fight here with a hammer, 3 hits, and it's down by Coxla. That was very smooth.
And speaking of hammer, because Zeke doesn't have the hammer, because he doesn't have the Misery Mire hookshot, he had to pass up that chest back there. And that also means that he can't complete this dungeon either. So Coxla having the hammer has that huge advantage to be able to come back here and do that as well.
And of course, needing that hookshot to be able to even get the hammer, limiting Zeke's options until he goes to Misery Mire. And with that blue cane that he also found, he can now check Spike Cave.
Ooh, and he's out of bombs, so he's not able to bomb down. He doesn't have the hook shot, so he can't make that check, even though he does have the big chest, the big key.
But his dip into Ice Palace hasn't been completely without rewards. He did get a Triforce piece in here.
And a key to pod, which could be really relevant. And the bottle magic isn't so bad either. We'll have to see. When is Zeke gonna think about going into Mire? Let's see if that's a check next. He's fluting away.
No, where's he going? Into the Dark World, so maybe Pod? Without a hammer though? You can still do a lot without a hammer. I guess a lot of checks.
Yeah, and I think he has 2 keys, so he'll be able to do quite a few checks. Presuming he knows how to use the hammer jump.
Yeah, that's definitely one key you want to save out on.
And he does have the big key so he'll be able to make that big chest check as well. So a lot of checks he can do, just even on 2 keys, especially because he has the bow.
And there's the big key to Thieves Town in the big chest of Skull Woods. Both players have passed the halfway mark in the meantime, 25 and 26 pieces respectively.
Yeah, so while Zeke's been able to find a few more pieces, Coxla has all the items that he needs to be able to clear these dungeons. So he's going to be able to do Ice Palace and Thieves Town, and from there Pod as well, which is going to put him at a significant advantage.
And he'll be able to get those done much more thoroughly, definitely. And there's the big key to Ganon's Tower.
I mean, you never know. You might need that. Those 4 checks that are up there at the top. It could be 4 Triforce pieces.
There's also still the big chest, though.
It's true. So that unlocks the full. What did we get? 26 checks, I think, in Ganon's Tower total.
No, there's 23 then. Well, 26 with 27 if you include all the chests upstairs.
That's right, 27 because the big chest. 22 plus the big chest plus the 4 upstairs. Yeah, lots. I mean, when we're talking about potentially 60 of 216 being Triforce pieces, Ganon's Tower is going to come into play for sure.
But we're gonna need to see some boss kills if that's the case, and not a red pendant boss like Tower of Hera was here. There's a shovel on Bomber Cave, so Coxla is definitely not gonna pass that up just in case. Depending on what's under there, he definitely doesn't want to miss out on it.
I would imagine that Coxla would probably do the blacksmith chain here, since he's already in the area. We'll have to see. Oh, taking a death. That's not the best place to take a death, but we'll have to see what he decides to do next after that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right with that blacksmith chain, because he can also check K45. I think he's already checked Stump Gate, but then also for Shovel. It's a nice route to take to get everything done in a row. No hammer yum from Zeke here though. Maybe he's putting it off until later.
In this case, it might be good to check the back first, since he's going to be able to mirror out from there. He is using that key on the Harmless Hellway, so that does give me an indication, I think, that he can do Hammer Yum to get those 3 checks.
And Coxla now following into Thieves Town, which Zeke had earlier, but he can complete it completely with that big key and the hammer. He has full access to the big chest even in the back. Because of course does have the small key, though, and that's the only small key you need to be able to get that, because the only other small key that's needed is in a skull, under a skull in Thieves Town itself. So we're probably gonna see Zeke. Oh, he's gonna actually hammer jump right here. Often I see players quickly go to the south first and quickly use the door back and forth so that in case you fall, you can reset easily there.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough time to get it off on this one. So yep, he's gonna go back and try it again.
Because you have to exit the super tile to reset the single tile. And if I recall correctly, going out the bottom of this is another super tile, so you can just out and in to reset this bridge.
So yeah, he's attempting the Hammer Yump, which is a great NMG strat as well if you're a vanilla runner. But it can be really great in Key Sanity because you'll save a key by getting into Dark Maze using a little glitch here. So it has to do with where you place the bomb and then where you're standing next to the bomb as he completes it. There you go. So he's able to glitch into that spot where the hammer normally is. That's why it's called the hammer jump. You're kind of jumping into the hammer spot. And he's able to make these 3 checks without using a key. And he's rewarded with a Triforce piece. So that was worth the effort for sure.
Definitely.
You know, we keep saying it, but you know, with the high amount of Triforce pieces you have to collect in the small margin that of extras, there's only going to be 10 or maybe 11 extras. You got to check everything in this game right now.
Any check that leads you to a Triforce piece has been worth it. And there's the biggie to Tara Hera.
That'll actually work nicely because when he goes into Meyer to get the hook shot, he'll get that. He'll be over to that area, right, where Coxla was able to go in there and make the big chest check as well. So it actually will work into his routing pretty good, even though he's a little behind because of the Meyer. Because Coxla's gone into Meyer, got the hook shot, which has opened up the world for him.
And that's why this is also a very different race from having a high number of Triforce pieces than low number. Because opening the world is nice and all, but if they only needed like 31, 32, you wouldn't say that Coxla is slightly ahead. But because they need 49, they know they need to get to so many places that having the world open to you is worth a lot.
Yeah, and I think one issue that came up with Coxla did not check the Ganon's Tower crystal requirement sign when he was in front of Hera. It would be interesting to see how, you know, we know it's going to be at least 3 crystals, but you know, how many bosses is he going to try to fight? Like we didn't see him go after Mothula. You know, here he's going to do blind, but that makes sense because he wanted to go all the way down to the cell in the big chest anyway.
And that's a very clean blind fight by Coxla. It's just a little trouble at the end, but he gets it very smoothly still.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched a lot of races, blind is a scripted fight essentially, where he's going to do the same thing based on how you attack him in the first 2 phases. So it's very learnable. About an hour of practice, and you can be doing it pretty flawlessly as well.
That's what a lot of this comes down to: practice, practice, practice. So many hours of practice.
And as we think about the whole week of the league, with it being mystery, you know, it's only Tuesday. We've got a whole lot of action coming up with mystery, and we never know what the seed is going to give us. So these runners have to be a little bit aware of any kind of mode that can happen to them.
And here we have some checks that the other player has done. So Zeke got Bumper Cave, Coxla clearing out the rest of the village of Outcasts. Although Zeke gets cornered and mobbed by those, I actually don't know what all the different mobs there were called, but a whole bunch of them. Losing him some time not getting that shuffle.
Yeah, we like to refer to that one as the murder-dactyl, the pterodactyl that's always coming after you. That's one of the hardest spots in the game of some weird threats, right? You just take so much damage from those things.
I can completely agree with that name. That is very apt. And here we have Zeke probably going into Meyer in a moment. Oh, he has not checked Meyer Shed after he did after he got the pearl in checkerboard before. He's gonna be a bit disappointed though.
And Coxla's getting some money over in the archery game, which is usually a big find for inverted. But you can see there's actually a little trick here where you just line up on the right side, and as those little octopus thingies hit the second curtain, if you fire your arrow, you're going to hit them almost every time. So it's free money. Just take some time.
So from this, I can only think he's setting up to go visit Zora.
And Zeke's going to go into use the rest of his magic to get into Misery Mire, where he's going to find his hook shot. And well, I believe there was one Triforce piece in here.
I think so, yes.
And he has 2 keys, where Coxla didn't have any keys, so it's going to be an easier route for him. He'll be able to go right into the left side and find those, and also on the right side to get that last chest pretty easily.
And the big chest, because he does have the big key.
That's right.
Actually, no. My bad. It's Coxla that has the big key now for Misery Mire. Zeke does not. And immediately putting those keys that he already has to use, going straight to the left side. And that magic refill is definitely coming in handy for him. And now we're seeing the Smith chain from Coxla, but he will also be able to do hammer pegs here. With another Triforce piece that Zeke will hopefully be able to get back to eventually.
Coxla's going to get his Master Sword from the blacksmith, and hopefully head on down with the purple chest to get that Cane of Samaria.
And there's that Triforce piece for Zeke. Coxla charging while he has the chest. I don't really understand yet how you do that, because if you just charge, then you leave it behind, but there is a way to do it, as he just showed us.
I believe it has to do with that hook shot. Like once you're attached, you're able to connect into that.
Misery Mire there. That's of course one of those keys that Zeke has now. I'm really interested to see what this shovel check is going to give us in a moment. Oh no, he had not checked Stump Kit. We of course knew that Stump Kit only gave a heart. But I'm really interested to see what this shovel is going to give, because Zeke was at Bumper where the shovel is, and he did not get it. Luckily for him, he's not missing out. But he of course doesn't know that.
And now Coxla's leaving behind the chest. There's a cool glitch you can do where, as long as you don't mirror into the light world until you're right in front of where the chest guy is, the game will still think you have the chest when you appear. So you'll see him use the mirror right in front of the chest guy, and it'll still count as him carrying it with him. Again, you cannot mirror until you get to this point. And he'll be rewarded with the Cane of Samaria. So lots of dungeon items. Even though he's behind in the Triforce count, he's got all the items to do pretty much anything in the game at this point. Maybe missing a few keys, but he's on track for a lot of dungeons now.
Yeah, he's definitely capable of going into Ice Palace and pretty much clearing that out. There's at least one piece that I remember that is in there. And we'll see Zeke actually going into the big chest for Desert Palace. Looks like Coxla's gonna do that same check right away, because he didn't just get that big key from the Bombos tablet, and a small key to Ganon's Tower is their reward. first, Coxla also hasn't checked the first chest in Swamp Palace yet, which is also a Triforce piece. But with that, a hook shot, Zeke's making his way up to Death Mountain, and he will soon have his hammer as well as all the other items that Coxla picked up while he was there. And they have known for this Triforce piece for a while, and Zeke, while he's here, he's going to pick that up. And while he's here, he's probably going to head into Tower of Hera as well, because he does have that big key and a small key, so he can clear this place out. But he dead rocks himself.
Now, if you're a big fan of Dead Rocks, just wait till the last week of the league, because it's going to be Inimizer co-op, and you could have Dead Rocks all over the world, just making your day a lot of fun. So definitely come back and stay tuned with that for week 7.
And making good use of that hook shot with limited sword power. Hook shot is really nice with those penguins because it does one-shot them. First, having a little bit of trouble with that Dorsey extension there. But he gets it. And this is another chest he'll be able to check that Zeke could not while he was here. For an extra Triforce piece.
And that's a Triforce piece that Zeke couldn't get before. So who knows when he's going to go back for that one. So we'll have to hope that, you know, the 10 or 11 that are missing, the extra ones that he'll find on his way.
Yeah, this Ice Plus is paying off for Coxla in a big way because he's getting all the pieces that Zeke has gotten there, and then some. Wonder what's in that big chest here, because Zeke was also not able to get that one. Just a map. The Cannon's Tower, no less. And Zeke now making his way into Super Bunny Cave. And I'm wondering if Coxla is gonna go all the way through and also go for Cold Stare. I think he will.
And while we're waiting to watch Zeke clear up some of the checks we've seen and wait to see if Coxla is going to go down to Cold Stare, be sure to give your runners a follow. You can see now in the chat their Twitch channels. So Coxla and Zeke, definitely give them a follow.
And Zeke now also has his Misery Mire big key locked behind going to Misery Mire itself with the hook shot. And here comes Cold Stare.
And he does have that bottle of magic that just picked up, so that'll be helpful if he wants to use it.
He's got one fire rod shot. I'm thinking we're gonna see that bottle in just a moment. Oh no, he's going for hammer strats. Gets bodied there by and Goldstair bodies him again. Ah, but he did pick up a fairy earlier with a net, right? That's safety paying off right away. And these hammer strats are very dangerous. He gets hit again. I think if he gets bodied one more time, he's going to die again.
Yeah, I'm a fan of just drinking that potion and just throwing those fireballs from a faraway range. But we're seeing some cool strats here with the more hard mode strats here. We like some drama and intensity on our restream, so this is great.
And he gets it.
So that's 2 Triforce pieces in Ice Palace that Zeke was unable to get on his run through there. That Coxla has a good advantage on.
He is still 6 points behind, 6 pieces behind. So there's the one in Swamp Palace, and I'm trying to scratch my head on which other ones that he's got that Zeke's got that he does not have.
And Zeke's gonna make the run into Turtle Rock, it looks like. Oh, as he gets caught by his mirror there. And he does have all the keys he needs to clear the whole dungeon, and I believe the big key there. So he can beat Trinex and clear the dungeon.
And there's a lot of chests in there, so I think he's hoping to get really close to his goal and of 49.
Plus, he still has a few checks with Tower of Hera as well.
He only has the 1 check left in the basement, I think. After the waiting room. I think Coxla is missing the one from the Aether tablet, and of course heading into Palace of Darkness here, there's also a couple in there that he does not have. Yeah, indeed, Zeke didn't kill Moldorm, he noped out right after he was done there.
Zeke only has 2 Turok keys. Somehow I was thinking that they had more. Maybe Coxla has the full 4. So he's not going to be able to get to Trinex without getting another key for this dungeon. And that's in addition to the one he can steal from the Pokey. But he can get to Laser Bridge and clear that. So those will be 4 checks plus Mimic Cave in addition to the 4 or 5 he can get to. So that's a lot of checks still to make. It just he won't be able to finish the dungeon. Or check the lava chest.
Yeah, like you said, Coxla does have 4 small keys to Turtle Rock. So I'm wondering when he's going to make his way down here.
And the name of the game is to collect those 49 Triforce pieces and then head right to Hyrule Castle and talk to the old man right in front of the gate there. So it doesn't matter, who can clear more dungeons. It's going to matter who can find 49 pieces first. So if Zeke, who's ahead here in Turtle Rock, is able to find a lot more pieces, he can pull it off, even though he's had the item disadvantage for most of the seed. So there's a lot riding on Turtle Rock here, having some Triforce pieces.
Well, still plenty of checks to go.
And again, we still have Ganon's Tower. We don't know how many crystals it takes. That can be a big part of this. But with, I think Coxla has 2 crystals so far. He's almost there if he ever needed to get into there. But we still don't know. It could be a 7 crystal GT. Who knows?
Do you think he accidentally opened that door? Because of course, with that key, he can't. He doesn't have enough to get all the way to the laser bridge, does he?
No, unfortunately not. So it did kind of look like he went intentionally. So maybe he just miscounted the keys, or he's just not worried about it. Just trying to get to as many checks as he can on his way. You know, you never know the mindset going into a seed like this. He may have a plan beyond this, right? So it's kind of whatever he's thinking to make the most checks he can do.
His plan is beyond our understanding.
In a key sanity, it's good to know, you know, there's a lot of different variables and how many keys you need, depending on if you're trying to clear a dungeon, if you're trying to reach a certain check. You know, we know places like Swamp Palace, you have to have a small key to get into the place. But Turtle Rock, you know, you need between, you know, 0 and 4 keys, depending on how far in the dungeon you want to make it. We saw earlier that Misery Mire, you can get through most of the checks without any keys because there's enough keys in the dungeon, where Zeke had a much easier route through Misery Mire, having gone in there with 2 keys. So key sanity is there's a lot of variables, a lot of different patterns there that you can use.
And so far, Turtle Rock hasn't really been paying off, but that Mimic Cave does have a piece for him. But in the meantime, Coxla has cleared most of Desert Palace and has caught up significantly.
I just really want to know how many crystals it takes for Ganon's Tower. I'm thinking that's going to be a big part of this, or not.
Neither player has made that check while they were there.
That's as far as Zeke can make it. Didn't get a key.
Coxla, in the meantime, going to clear out the rest of Eastern Palace. He's got that big key, so he can now take the big chest and also go all the way to kill the knights, almost knights. And that big chest is an immediate reward. And finishing up the rest of that Eastern Death Mountain. Oh, or am I misremembering? Did he not yet do? No, he did do Paradox Cave. I'm fairly certain. So he's just making his way back up.
Yeah, this might be he's trying to go check GT, maybe Spike Cave even. I don't know if he did Spike Cave.
I don't think he did.
Just where he came out there with the big chest, it wasn't the best place to be able to get anywhere other than having to climb again. So just sort of put him in a spot.
Just a quick safety for Zeke. I think he's going to go check how many crystals are needed.
6.
6. That's okay. I think we cannot expect these. I think we're not gonna have a Ganon's Tower run. I think there'll probably be enough crystals out of the world.
Well, so let's see. We've got so far Coxla has Armos, Blind, and Cold Stare down. Moldorm is a pendant, so that's not the case, but
Yep.
could go to Lamos, so that's a pretty easy one. There's not really any checks left in Desert Palace except for Lamo. Vidi, he's already cleared Misery Mire, so Vidi's an option for Crystal. So there's 2 more Crystals without any real substantial checks there.
He's gonna make his way into Turtle Rock though, but bring in a lot more keys with him.
And then Moth as well is, I believe, a crystal. So there's your 6 crystals there without any actual checks except for the boss.
Did he
we'll have to see what
check?
happens.
Did he check? I know he knows that there's a Triforce piece on Aether tablet, but I don't think he just picked it up as he was going up the mountain. I think he skipped that.
You're right. I don't think I saw that either. I don't know if anybody in the chat did. I don't think he's been over in that direction with the Master Sword yet.
No, he checked it with the book, I know that, but since he's got the Master Sword, I was expecting him to actually pick it up now that he's here. It's a free extra piece, but it seems like that slipped his mind as he was going up the mountain.
Yeah, I don't think he's been over to that side up there with the Master Sword, though, because he did check earlier, you're right, because he came up the mountain on the... Did he come up on the east side?
Yeah, he came up on the east side, he checked before when he was doing Tower of Hera.
So it'll be interesting to see, of course, what else is here, like Laser Bridge and all the other checks he can make in Trinex. But it'll be interesting to see if he goes over to get that and checks Ganon Tower to see how close he is to being able to go in there.
And Zeke gets Trolldormed. He jumps down, and Trolldorm is like, no, this is my platform. Get off. And chat confirming he has not gone back for it, so I'm expecting him to do that once he gets out of Turtle Rock here. Or at least hope for him that he does. Alright, second attempt, very smooth Trolldorm for Zeke. And there's that small key for Turtle Rock. So I think we might see him go back there. I don't know. How much further can that one small key carry him? I don't know.
Well, that's 4 checks on Laser Bridge, which is pretty significant when you only need 7 Triforce pieces, but I'd like one more.
And he's going to the right, so he might just be going there just to go get those checks on Laser Bridge.
All right, remember we were talking about how he was taking kind of the long way back up, so maybe it's still saved. Nope, looks like he's going right in anyway.
Sorry, how do you mean?
There's a way to save your portal if you don't use your mirror again, or don't go back into the... If you don't save and quit and you don't go into the Dark World again, your portal will still be where you left it. So
yes.
When he came out of the big area, big chest area with Mimic Cave, he went west and then mirrored, so that mirror portal would still be there. So
Is there a way to come down on that ledge, though?
That's the question, I guess. I'm not really sure.
I don't think there's a way to get down on that ledge except through Turtle Rock.
Yeah, but if you were on the right side, I guess that's the safety bridge where you would save it. And he didn't reach that. The safety door on Laser Bridge. That's right. He was on Spiral Ledge, so he could fall down right to where Spiral Cave is, and could have just taken his portal back in. Oh, and Zeruvian Tracker pointing out that we think he also mirrored back to Hera after checking GT. So a lot of things going on. We have no idea, but in general, you can save your portal there if you want to be able to come back quickly. It will stay there as long as you don't portal again or save and quit. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you want to save your portal and have it be there for later to drop down, that's a good place to do it.
It was also very nice to see these guys give a virtual high five, being in the exact same location at the exact same time. Of course, Zeke is bypassing that as he has checked all this area already where Coxla is at, and he's now moving on to Laser Bridge. But Coxla will be there momentarily. I'm trying to rack my brain what Coxla has unchecked that Zeke has, because he's still missing the one piece on the Aether tablet, and that will tie them up. But of course, Coxla has gotten a couple of pieces, I mean, that Zeke has not.
Well, there's Magic Bat access. With the powder. There's a Triforce piece. So Zeke still needs another small key to be able to go to Trinex, but he's going to nope out of there and go do something else as well. But he does have the ability to do Magic Bat now that he has the powder and the hammer.
I think he was still slightly disappointed with what he got from that laser bridge. The one piece is nice, but it would have been so much nicer if he had gotten two.
And I don't know when he would ever get around to it, but there are two pieces hovering in Ice Palace that he couldn't get to. Oh, right. The Swamp Palace entrance chest had a Triforce piece as well.
Yes, absolutely right. And then there's at least one more that that Zeke has found that Coxla hasn't. Coxla is going to Zeke is going to pick up the Hammer Peg Triforce piece here.
This is really interesting because, again, as Coxla had a pretty significant lead on items, Zeke's been doing a lot of different checks and has the lead on the Triforces, as well as we know there's two pieces hanging out there that he could get. So he's right on the cusp if he makes the right plays, or at least makes the plays towards Triforce pieces. Who knows if they're the right plays, based on what we've seen so far. And Coxla's dangerously low on health with one heart left, but luckily he just got the powder, and he's going to go powder and anti-fairy to get a little refill there.
I think he also still has a fairy in reserve in his bottle.
We get to see what the Magic Bat brings us today.
Just a little love.
It was a peace hunt, but it wasn't a heart peace hunt, so not going to help us today. So Zeke only 5 Triforce pieces away from the win here. We know there's 2 in Ice Palace. Meanwhile, Coxla is just 2 pieces behind, so it's very close with a lot of room to go.
Seeing some hammer strats here on Trinex.
Did Zeke check Stumpy?
Yes, they both checked something. But Zeke has not checked Dick's spot yet, even though it's only a compass. And Coxla using the fairy to stay alive in Trinex. You have to get very close with that hammer. But he gets it, Trinex down for Coxla. Let's see what he gets.
And that'll be Coxla's 4th crystal, so there's 2 more left. And, there's a couple...
And another Triforce piece.
Oh, that's a big one.
And you say, yeah, it was 6 to get it again in style, so you say he has 4 now. So you said Desert Palace is an easy crystal to get. What else is there?
Mothula would have one. And Vidi, not difficult, but I'm just saying the 3 remaining crystals all have very few checks involved. So, this seed to me is pointing, even though they're only a few away from the win, it's pointing me to Ganon's Tower. Unless all the bosses that are left have Triforce pieces, it's likely going to be a Ganon's Tower for 1 or 2. Hope Room could have 2 pieces.
He's gonna check the Ganon Tower right here. No, it doesn't open for you, buddy. 6 crystal needed.
He's going to get that ether tablet one to go to 44 pieces. So they're both tied up at 44 piece, which is interesting because Zeke, we know he has 3 out there that he could get eventually. The Ice Palace 2 and Trinex.
And Desert Ledge, we haven't had this check yet.
Oh, and I believe Zerivian's saying there's one in Eastern as well. So he's really at 48 if he goes to the right spots. He will need that Turtle Rock key though first.
Half Magic not gonna help him at this point anymore. Coxla has not checked Hype Cave yet, but he's, I think, gonna be disappointed. If I remember correctly, there is not a Triforce piece in there, or was there one? The blue mail's there, I remember that part, and Zeke's gonna go check the dig spot. It's gonna be disappointed finding a compass there. Coxla, while he's there, opting not to go check that first key. That first chest, I mean, in Swamp Palace, that would give him a Triforce piece. Oh, he has not gotten the one on Lake Hylia yet. There is still that one there that he's gonna pick up right now.
Looks like Zeke's gonna head back in Ice Palace and try to get those 2 that he doesn't know they're there yet.
Well, he's gonna be happy with what he finds then. And Coxla going in for the rest of Meyer.
So chances are he's going to go for Vidi and then maybe mirror into Lamos, since those are 2 really close, really boss fights that he doesn't have to go too far, like to get to Mothula. Going all the way back to the back of Skull Woods is a hike where here's 2 easy bosses. Shouldn't be too bad.
That's 2 more items, of course, that could be Triforce pieces, and with that he'll also have the high density of Ganon's Tower available to him.
Yeah, because we know from Coxla's perspective right now, there's at least 14 pieces out there, maybe 15 pieces. So with how few checks are left in the actual dungeon in the world, that's a quarter of GT could be Triforce pieces right now. Remember that we've been talking about all day about how important it is to get density and try to make as many checks as you can, and there's nothing denser than GT.
Except maybe me during an exam. Yeah, we do indeed need 6 crystals for GT, and Coxla being at 4 crystals right now can clear Military Mire, followed by Desert Palace after a mirror, and then he'll be up to 6, so he can just quickly go in there.
Now, I'd love for it to be where if we know the last piece or 2 is in GT, if we can have the GT Big Key game be the last Triforce piece game instead for today.
That'd be amazing. Some spooky action from Coxla.
And there's definitely some theory crafting that goes into that. With these rarer modes that we don't play a lot of, like Triforce Hunt, you got to think of a strategy where you might have a different strategy in a normal randomizer mode on how you do GT, like a Dark Magician strategy or going full right. Who knows where the best way to go with Triforce Hunt is if you're just trying to make as many checks as quick as possible.
Some quick sword dashes with the cape for Vitreous on Coxla's side, as Zeke goes into the Cold Stare fight. Coxla playing really close, down to 1 heart here.
And we have Zeke going Cold Stare with the Fire Rod. Half Magic just blasting them all with the fire rod. Nothing more fun than just taking that fire rod out and indiscriminately just throwing all the fireballs you can as he gets his 46th Triforce piece and only bombs off of Vidi. But that's a 5th crystal for Coxla, so he's one more away from being able to go to Ganon's Tower.
As Zeke is now to 46, like I said, missing just 3. This is getting down to the wire.
Yeah, we know there's at least 2 out there, Trinex and 1 in Easter Palace, so that's still not enough because he needs 3. So I'm not sure. It's going to be tough to see if the disadvantage on the items is actually going to be the victory here. Where again, Coxla has had the item advantage, but Zeke has had the pieces advantage. So I think it's going to catch up to them when it's a battle for GT.
We may see the rest of Thieves Town now or Skull Woods on Zeke's side.
Yeah, and that was Zeke's first crystal.
And here we see like the difference between killing those bosses and not. Coxla has spent a lot of time killing those bosses, which puts you behind in your count. But of course, if you end up having to go to Ganon's Tower, if that Ganon Tower play pays off, then every boss you've killed has been worth it.
And there's Zeke's big key for Thieves Town, so he might be taking a beeline down there.
Yep, just like you said. And Coxla going for a quick landmo with Fire Rod here. And not being very nice to him. And he's out of magic, so sword spins it is.
Yeah, maybe a slower route for now, but with the red mail and 13 hearts, I'm pretty sure his health is secure.
Just a map. But that does give him access to Ganon's Tower. He needs 4 pieces.
And he does have the Ganon's Tower big key and several keys. I'm not sure how many, 2 I think, maybe 3.
I think he has everything he needs. He has 4 small keys for Ganon's Tower.
So all of those 22 checks plus the big chest are very accessible. So I'd imagine we're going to find 4 pieces out of those 23.
Alright, so it's just for the hell of it. We can't really activate the game, but for the hell of it, if you think what check is Coxla going to find his last Triforce piece on, the last one he needs to win the game in Ganon's Tower, from 1 to 23 this time, or if you want, you can actually go all the way up to 27. I'm gonna go. I would have actually. I'm gonna say not 1 to 27, but more like 4 to 27, of course, because the first 3 can't be his last. Like Will does indeed correct me in chat. Thank you. I had almost forgotten that, but I'm gonna guess 12. What about you, Jaws?
I think they're just, it's going to be loaded, so I think it's going to be really early, maybe like 9 or 10. So I'll say 9.
Zeke, of course, making his way smoothly through Thieves Town, while Coxla approaches Ganon's Tower, opens it up.
Although we haven't seen Swamp Palace, so Swamp Palace could have 6 Triforce pieces, and we'll never know.
True, but I don't think either player has. No, they still don't have a small key, so they can't get inside. It could very well be that small key is here in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, it's probably here, but again, with the amount of Doritos Triforce pieces that are left, I mean, they've all got to be here. At least enough. The 4 have to be here. I can't imagine being anywhere else. There's not that many checks left in the world, including Swamp Palace.
There really isn't. Well, the first one was just bombs.
And we know this was vanilla sword, so that's 2 checks in the world that are swords, the pedestal and the pyramid fairies.
2 and 3 are both arrows, as Zeke goes into the blind fight. More bombs.
Okay, the
And
GT's
more
proven me
bombs.
wrong so far. I'm getting. Oh, he's gonna make the Dark Magician play to get the maximum amount of checks.
More arrows. So many arrows and bombs here. Some rupees. And Zeke is quickly taken down blind, being rewarded with a heart.
I know we were playing the normal game of 22 checks, but did anybody think maybe pre-Moldorm cave or pre-Moldorm chest maybe has that last piece? The route
Well,
this is
people,
going?
highest guess I saw was 26. We're up to 7 now, and he hasn't found any. Those Gibdos being very up in his business. And Zeke looking like he's going to go to the back of Skull Woods here. There's one piece in number 8.
The runner's got to be thinking, oh, thankfully this is not a Ganon fight, because Master Sword Silverless just wouldn't be any fun.
Yeah, it really isn't. We're up to 11, by the way, now. With only one piece down, so it's got to be a minimum of 14. Bare minimum, and then the next 3 have to be.
And interesting of note, Zeke is going to Skull Woods. We didn't see these 2 checks, right? Because
At all.
yeah, Coxla opted to do the Misery Mire Desert bosses instead. So, ooh, it's silver.
Coxla has found another in number 12.
That could have been a huge one, but it was just silvers. No one wants silvers right now. You ever said that? Oh, it's just silvers. I don't want those.
Coxla not picking up that small key, so he's expecting not to have to go all the way up.
Just 2 more pieces. 3 on Zeke's, 2 on Coxla. Who will get him first?
Well, Coxla is going to have a lot more chests available to him right in front of him, while Zeke is only going to get Muscula's reward.
We've got 4 checks coming up here in randomized room. Is there going to be the pieces?
That's 13, 14, 15, and 16. That's a lot of junk.
Those all the same rupee. That Moldorm chest, that's the one. I can feel it. And Skullwood's coming up dry for Zeke. He had a good chance if those 2 had been pieces to see if he can put something together before Coxla finds these last 2 pieces in Ganon's tower. Going for the big chest.
17, giving him more rupees. Ganon's tower is just full of rupees. What a hoarder.
Maybe they can just bribe, what's his name, Mahasala, whatever. Muradala is the sprite's name.
Muradala, yeah.
Ooh, mushroom. Take that.
Mushroom.
Maybe that's a Triforce piece. So as you should know with this mode, with Triforce piece, just getting the 49th piece isn't the end of the game. They have to go into the light world, go in front of Hyrule Castle. Right near the front door is Muradala. It just looks like Sir Hashala with a different color shirt on. Turn it in, and that will send them to the Triforce room.
That armor's not being a bully. But he does get him down as Zeke makes his way back into Misery Mire.
All right, we got the big key chest area. 20 rupees. 20 rupees. Triforce piece. All right, 1 more to find as they've cleared the entire front. Where's he going now?
So 23 checks in total, and he's up to 48. He's not going to go up, which I understand. There's a lot of, it takes a bit before he can get all the way up there. Is he going to go check the basement of Tower of Hera in the back?
He got the big chest. Zurvin, it was 300 rupees. Looks like trying to do a hair pot here.
He has not picked up the big chest here, but I don't. It was not a piece. It was not a Triforce piece.
Yeah, and that makes sense to not climb up. Like there could be 4 pieces upstairs, but the amount of time to make that climb, no one's got time for that. It's better to go look for one more piece somewhere else, especially if there's a couple quick checks here.
We know where the quickest check is, of course, in the front of Swamp Palace.
Meanwhile, Zeke's making his way to Vidi, hoping to get to those 6 crystals, I bet.
Being at 46 already, if he were to go to Ganon's Tower, he would get his 49 there. The Triforce Hunt is an extremely nerve-wracking race because you never know if you're ahead or not.
All right, let's see if this is it. Is this the one? There it is, 49.
He gets it in the Hera basement, and off he goes back to the Hyrule Castle.
So Coxla just has to run in front of the castle and talk to Murdala, and that will complete the game. Let's see how fast he can do it. Again, while Zeke's still in Midrimire.
Having killed Aghanim, he can just save and quit back to the pyramid and then mirror right here. That's a very, very good, smart, fast way to get there.
And there you see Murdala over there in the red. And that's the end. That's a race time GG of 1:51.07 for Coxla. Get your GGs in the chat for that incredible Triforce Hunt. 49 out of 49.
We've had some quick races yesterday, but this was definitely on the longer docket. And it was exciting all the way through, even went into Ganon's Tower. Amazing.
That was basically an all dungeons key sanity seed, but we were looking for something else to do instead of fighting Ganon.
Well, we never did get into Swamp Palace, not really.
We'll see if maybe we can get Coxla in here for an interview. Let's see.
My guess is that the Swamp Small Key is in the Moldorm 2 chest.
Yeah, looks like we're going to be joined by Coxla here in a minute. What a race. I mean, isn't it just cool to see something totally different like that? It's still the same rando game, just changing a mode, just like to go from Triforce pieces instead of Ganon fights. Just changes how the whole thing plays, right? And we're joined here by Coxla. GG, Coxla.
GG.
Thanks, GG's.
So tell us your thoughts when you opened the seed and you saw the yellow triangles.
Just what I did not want, so not happy. I already knew it was not entrance because we put start, but I did not want yellow triangles. And 49 is a lot.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
that's
is
just
one off max.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
max could be at 50.
Maximum is 50, and there can only be up to 60 pieces. As there are 59 or 60 pieces in total available throughout the entire map, so we knew this was going to be a longer seed.
Oh, this was so long. And GT was so empty.
Yeah, we even did a GT game in chat to see where you would get your last piece. We expected you to find your last piece there, and I think that's what you were hoping as well.
Yeah, I definitely hope 4 pieces in GT, but there were only 3. At least at the bottom. Maybe 4 if I did not forget. If there's 1 in Tyrone, but I forgot. I forgot it.
So how did you feel during the race? Did you feel behind, ahead, that you were on the right path? Tell us some of your thoughts that you had during that.
I felt good when I first found hookshot, and just after that, Amarin blocked by that hookshot. So I thought early Meyer he may have skipped it because I don't know. We did not have Earths, we did not have armors. So he may have skipped it, and then I tried to follow hookshot, and then we found every item.
That's indeed what we saw happen. You found that one, as that was... Your routes were fairly identical between you and Zeke, up to that point where you went into Meyer and Coxla went into Ice Palace at that time. And he found... well, you found the hookshot, and he found... Well, not so much, actually. So you gained a lot of time there, because when you went to go check the places that Zeke had already checked, you had the hammer, you had the hookshot, so you could do much more thorough checks, putting you just a little bit ahead.
Yeah, he had the seat wide open, and I played by density. I skipped many things, I think, isolated things, like graveyard or back of Skerwood.
And that was actually really important too, because the seed was so long and the race went on so long that by you having those items an advantage, you were able to clear those 6 crystals to go into GT, even though it only gave you the 1. You know, it still was really important.
And to put your mind at ease, Graveyard Ledge and Back of Skull Woods had nothing, but you could have gone into Swamp Palace. The first chest had a piece.
Right. I was waiting for maybe the small key to clear it, but never found that small key.
Yeah, so while you were in Gan's Tower looking for pieces, Zeke was kind of following your footsteps. He was also in Skullwoods, only 2 pieces behind. So from our perspective, anything could have happened there, where you would have found the pieces in GT, or he would have found pieces on Moth. You know, it was for 2 different routes. It was very close.
Yeah, there were not that many places remaining, so I was scared. I was thinking he was not ending, but I don't have so many places. I hope all my Triforce are not there, because it could go really bad if he did all those checks. Like Catfish and Zoa. Money was a problem at the beginning of the season.
And then Ganon's Tower was giving all the money to, I noticed. Lots of pieces there.
Including the 300 inside the big chest.
Oh yeah. Worst place. I was really scared about Zora at the beginning, because I needed a little bit of time to realize I had Flute and Myths and Mirror, so Moonpole could be a checkerboard. I first fluted to 7, and I wanted to farm rupees because I was convinced Pearl was on Zora, and then I thought, no, wait, it can be a checkerboard.
And that definitely paid off, remembering that, and so you could get in there. In the meantime, Zeke is making his way into Ganon's Tower as well. He will finish up there because he's going in with only 2 pieces missing.
Yeah, and we'll get him in for an interview as soon as he finishes, assuming it's in the next few minutes here. So So Coxla, your team is now 6-3, and you're tied for a three-team first place right now. So who's going to race the next one this week?
The next one is Hyrulian versus the Hyrulian. It will happen Sunday, I think.
Great. So we'll have to check that out. Again, you guys are 6-3 in the I forget which division you're in, but there was a three-way tie. You guys were second place, tied for third, just one game behind first and second. So there's a lot of ways to move in your division, that's for sure. So every win is going to count for you guys. So in the league, in the general in the league, this is week 5. We got lots of mystery the rest of the week. Next week we've got all dungeons, key sanity. So if you liked what we were doing here today with the keys all mixed up and going to all the dungeons, that's going to be a good one to tune into. Coxla, are you planning to run all dungeons, key sanity?
Yeah, I'll be playing the keys because I hate Enmiser, so I will not be playing Enmiser.
All right, you bring up the last week will be Enemizer co-op, so that'll be fun to watch too.
So my question about co-op, is it allowed for 2 players to play both games in co-op?
I think so, that's what I understood at least. We may need to check that, but I think we can.
And then your teammates will cover both those matches there.
Yes.
Chat confirming that it is indeed allowed, so you're off the hook for that.
Yeah, there's just a minimum race requirement. You have to have raced in 5 races this season, or your team gets a point penalty at the end. So I'd imagine your team has already fulfilled that with you racing next week. Zeke making its way to the randomizer room. He's got a little bit to go to get to that. What was it, the big key chest room? I think had a piece.
Yes, that kind of. He's not happy. He's just leaving balls behind him. Yes.
And so, folks watching this, if you've never done a mystery, it's pretty easy to generate a mystery ROM on the randomizer website. You can also do Triforce hunts if you like this mode. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot faster usually when you don't have 49 pieces. If you're only going for maybe 20 out of 30 or less than that, you can generate those right in the randomizer itself and have a good time.
Or you can add the key sanity if you don't want to have a good time.
That's right.
It's really were super early. Every item was super early. We got those fairly quickly, I think.
You found a lot of keys early, but actual items unlocking stuff took a little bit longer, with eventually going into Aga once you guys found that keep.
Yeah.
And Zeke has silver, so he was able to mop up those ice armors a little quick. And he'll get his last Triforce piece here. I imagine he feels pretty relieved to find that 49th piece. So many pieces. And he's also going to take advantage of the fact that they beat Aga, so he'll be able to save and quit right to the top of the pyramid, walk down the pyramid, and mirror over to Hyrule Castle, although he has to, he can take a drop there, and turn in the pieces to Murdala to finish off the seed at a race time, GG time, 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 56 seconds. Put your GGs in the chat for Zeke. And we're joined by Zeke Highwind right here. GG, Zeke.
GG, Zeke.
Thank you very much.
So tell us your thoughts when you opened the seed and you saw those yellow triangles in the corner.
That's a lot of Doritos.
It's at least 3 bags of Cool Ranch.
I have not seen a single Triforce hunt go that high in a while.
Yeah, 50 being the max, 20 being the minimum, 49 is really far up there.
Yeah.
And just as we see on Coxla's screen there, 180 collection rate. So it was, 90% collection rate or so.
Oh, do you want me to spoil mine since I actually still have it up on my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
181 is all.
It's that Swamp Palace entrance. That was the one you did that was different.
I've had enough seeds where I've had progression in there. I do it every time I go past.
Now that was an amazing race at the end because Coxla was in GT. We're like, oh, there's got to be a ton of pieces there. You're clearing dungeons. You're doing Moth that Coxla haven't done, but you're both like within 2 pieces. Tell us what you're feeling at the end there.
I was expecting it to send us GT at that point, I'll admit, because I was running out of places to go. I had 2 checks here and 1 check there, and as I was doing them, nothing was beating Triforces. I think the first Triforce in 4 dungeons was that Eastern Palace big chest. Also, as another aside, I think that 50 rupee pickup in Fire Snake Room of GT was the first money pickup I got in the seed.
Speaking of which, yeah, so neither players did spend money on Zora, but he did have a Triforce piece for sale.
I mean, we didn't have the money. So it would have taken even more farming at 50 rupee cave.
Well, Coxla did actually end up with, did have the money before going into GT, but GT itself was pretty loaded with cash.
And I just didn't have the money. So which dungeon was the other crystal? Because I noticed that if Coxla didn't do...
He cleared Turtle Rock.
Turtle Rock, okay.
Coxla cleared Turtle Rock. The boss itself not having a piece, though.
So in the end, it came down straight up to GT had the last 2 pieces we'd get.
Well, the biggest difference was Coxla going into Mire much earlier and getting that hook shots.
That was what I expected to have happened there. I felt a little bad finding that so late.
You cleared Ice Palace in 2 runs, and Coxla cleared it in 1, and that is a big chunk of the difference in time that we have here at the end.
Yeah, I can understand that mistake on my part.
Same with Palace of Darkness.
Mire's a late pickup for me a lot of the time, and it gets me more often than it should.
But you were still right there. I mean, even though Coxla had the item advantage and was able to clear the bosses at the end a little quicker, you were actually ahead most of the time on pieces. And it came down to where Coxla needed 3 left and you needed 2. And I mean, if Moth and Skull Woods had paid off, I mean, who knows what would have happened there. So even though you were on different routes and different item collections, it was a really, really close match.
Yeah. GG to you, Coxla. Thank you for the race.
Yeah, thank you very much for your race because it wasn't sorry.
No, just saying that were too many Doritos.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something where you have to eat those in moderation, and I don't think 49 of them is moderation.
Yeah, so GG's to both of our runners. Again, give them a follow. GG's to Coxla on the victory, but also GG for a great race from Zeke. Also, give us a follow the commentary crew and the restreaming crew. Big thanks to Zeruvian for jumping into track and Floyd for restreaming. And of course, I'm Jossum Sauce, and we've got Rive here. We're in the middle of the kind of the victory clinching part of the league. It's week 5. A lot of teams are shaking around trying to figure out how they're going to make it to the playoffs. As you see, we've got the Bonking Baguettes now in 6-3. They're trying to make a move into first place to tie. But lots of good games and races coming up. As you see on your screen, we've got another race going on right now, I believe, on League 2. Yep, so definitely check that out after this. Lots of mystery to go on. Also in the chat, you'll be able to see the league weights. Click on that image and you can see all of the options that can happen in mystery. So you never know what's going to happen next. Next week, we've got all dungeons, Key Sanity, where the keys, the maps, everything you saw today, they're all over the world. You've got to complete all the dungeons, including Aga Tower, before you're able to beat Ganon. And then the following week, week 7, or last week of the regular season, is co-op, Inimizer, InfoShare 7-7. So they'll have a normal, quote-unquote normal, 7 Crystal Ganon fight. But all the enemies in the game are randomized. So you could have Lionel's in Uncle's tunnel there. You could have big crystal rollers going through the pod maze. And then also the bosses are shuffled. So, you never know who you're going to get when you go into Thieves Town. Things like that. So definitely catch that. We've got lots of stuff going on. Any last thoughts from our runners?
Thanks for commentating.
Yeah, thank you for the restream. It was very good.
Yeah,
race.
thanks for the restream.
Yeah, thank you again to Floyd and Hyrulian, because without them we wouldn't be able to do this. The back of this requires quite a bit of work, and they make it all possible. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so that's going to do it from us. Again, I'm Joss Sauce here with Rive and everybody on the team here. So be safe, take care, and then go head on over to League 2 to catch some more randomized mystery action. Thanks, everybody. Have a great time.